The Vatican, a spiritual haven, a global religious center and a sovereign state. But beneath its sacred facade lies a story of immense wealth, intricate politics and moral dilemmas. How did this tiny city-state become one of the wealthiest and most influential powers in history? Today we unravel the layers of faith, ambition and finance that shaped the Vatican's empire. The Vatican's wealth is not just in its art and architecture. It extends to its financial institutions, investments and global influence. Join us as we delve deeper into the secrets and stories behind the Vatican's power and prosperity. In the early days of Christianity, the Church relied on simple donations from the faithful. These offerings, collected in small gatherings, were enough to sustain its modest operations. But as the Church grew, so did its ambitions. The Church's influence expanded rapidly during the medieval period. It amassed significant wealth and power, becoming a dominant force in Europe. With this newfound power, the Church played a crucial role in shaping the political and cultural landscape of the time. By the Middle Ages, it had become a central authority across Europe, wielding immense influence over monarchs and commoners alike. This influence, however, came with a price. To fund its growing needs, the Church introduced indulgences. These weren't just religious offerings, they became one of the most profitable ventures of the medieval world. A piece of paper signed by the Church could now promise eternal salvation for a fee. It was ingenious but also controversial. The backlash was inevitable. Martin Luther's stand against indulgences sparked the Protestant Reformation, a movement that not only fractured Christianity, but also shook the Vatican's financial foundations. By the 15th century, the Renaissance was in full bloom, and Italy was its beating heart. The Vatican, now a major patron of art and architecture, commissioned masterpieces like the Sistine Chapel. But such grandeur required vast sums of money. Beyond indulgences, the Church controlled the Papal States, a territory rich in agriculture and trade. Taxes from these lands became a vital source of income. The Vatican also became a player in European politics, offering blessings to rulers in exchange for loyalty and sometimes gold. It wasn't just a spiritual power, it was a political and economic juggernaut. As the 18th century closed, revolutions swept across Europe. The French Revolution not only toppled monarchies, but also struck at the heart of the Catholic Church. Church lands were confiscated, treasures were looted, and the Vatican's finances were in shambles. By 1798, Napoleon's forces had invaded Rome, capturing Pope Pius VI. This moment marked one of the darkest periods in Vatican history. Stripped of its wealth and influence, it seemed like the Church's power might never recover. In the 19th century, the Vatican turned to an unexpected savior, the Rothschild family. This Jewish banking dynasty became the Church's key financial ally, lending millions to stabilize its finances. The alliance was controversial. Many traditionalists balked at the idea of working with outsiders, but for the Vatican, survival outweighed ideology. With this support, the Church not only recovered, but began diversifying its wealth, investing in land, art, and later industrial assets. The 20th century brought a new chapter. The Lateran Treaty established Vatican City as a sovereign state and provided it with substantial financial compensation. With this newfound wealth, the Vatican founded its own bank in 1942, the Istituto per le Opere di Religione, or the Vatican Bank. But secrecy often breeds controversy. Over the decades, the bank became embroiled in scandals, from mafia connections to money laundering. The Banco Ambrosiano scandal of the 1980s was the most infamous. Roberto Calvi, a key figure with Vatican ties, was found dead under mysterious circumstances. His death remains unsolved, a symbol of the dark underbelly of Vatican finance. In recent years, the Vatican has taken steps toward reform. Under Pope Francis, efforts to increase financial transparency have gained momentum. But even as the Vatican publishes financial reports and modernizes its institutions, the question remains, can it reconcile its immense wealth with its spiritual mission? The Vatican's story is one of survival, navigating wars, revolutions and scandals to maintain its influence. Its wealth has built cathedrals, funded missions and shaped history. But this legacy raises questions. How should a spiritual institution wield such earthly power? And can it truly serve both God and mammon?